this. Do you remember me? I know it's been a while, more than a year since the last video, and I'm very sorry about that. But hey, I haven't been just sitting around, so let me make it up to you and let's catch up to see what I've been doing all this time. After I posted the last video, a few weeks later, my second year of college started. Having more free time than at home, I made some progress to the train set. I began designing the Bogie, once again inspired by the real life pictures. After I finished that, I moved on to the chassis, which at first was meant for an Arduino Nano setup. Later, you'll see I switched to the ESP32. The progress was great, things were moving fast and I had a lot of motivation towards finishing the Locomotive. I designed the Locomotive plows and even started printing a few parts just to see how they will fit. This progress lasted until December because that month I got a college project, which by the way skipped one of my exams, and since the exams were scheduled in February, I had to put the Locomotive design on hold. The project theme had to be something electronic, and since one of my past personal projects was a self-watering plant, I decided to pick that idea and remaster it. My plan was to build a self-watering system, app-controlled, that could water your plants based on the parameters you set. On top of that, with a pleasant design and some LEDs, it could also be used as a lamp. This took all of December and a few days of January, but I was very proud of myself. After I presented it, guess what? The teacher wasn't impressed at all. But in the end, I still got a good grade, and with all the exams passed, the first semester finally came to an end. So that meant I had time now for working on the Locomotive design, right? Nope. Instead, I came up with a business idea. A cup and a phone holder for dorm beds. Since I needed one myself, I thought, why not to print a few and maybe sell them? Well, no one bought any. But at least I got a custom printing order which consisted of a foldable table for the bed. This idea kept me busy until April, when I also made a gift for my girlfriend. And then May came along, which could only mean one thing. Exams were just around the corner. So in my free time before the exam period, I studied a bit and played Minecraft. And just like that, the college year ended. Finally, it was summer and I had all the time to finish the Locomotive. But I forgot one minor detail. I don't know how your summer breaks usually are, but at my Balkan home, this is vacation. Anyway, between all that vacation, I decided to do a few things not directly related to the Locomotive. First, I printed another wagon, because 2 is better than 1. Then I added suspension. Do you remember the last attempt? Well, this time it actually works. Want to guess how? I'll give you 2 seconds. Magnets. The idea came from my brother and I spent quite some time experimenting with the magnets placement. They turned out to be pretty powerful, so I had to make the wagons heavier. For that, I designed some weight holders, which I later filled with gypsum. With a density of 2.3, gypsum is great for something like this. The only problem is that the process can get a little messy. And with these little improvements in place, I can finally say the Locomotive design was back on track. Do you get it? Like, on track because it's a train.
Okay.
The first thing I did was to print the wheels I had previously designed. Speaking about gears, at first I considered using herringbone gears, but that type would have blocked the axle horizontal movement, meaning that the Locomotive could easily derail. So I stick to the classic spur gears. The wheels needed to be mounted on something, so next I printed the bogies. They turned out great and I started assembling them right away. Even though the motor holders are only glue in place, I was surprised at how strong they are. Also, the 6 screws that holds each bogie together makes it, let's just say, rock solid. Moving on to the chassis, I ended up redesigning most of it in order to fit the ESP32 microcontroller and all the other components. I also added stoppers to prevent the bogies from rotating more than 90 degrees, plus a weight holder just in case extra friction between wheels and track was needed. And oh boy, it was slippery. After printing and assembling all the chassis parts, attaching the bogies, some buffers and the couplers, I started working on the electrical connections. Do you remember the symmetry issues I mentioned in the last video? Well, this was the moment I needed to fix them. Here is the problem. If the magnets on one wagon were placed in a certain orientation, then the magnets on the locomotive or on the other wagon needed to be placed in the opposite one. That basically meant that if you rotated either the wagon or the locomotive, there was only a 50% chance that they will couple, since the magnets might have the same polarity. The solution? An extender. The idea is simple. Make all the rolling stock magnets face north polarity and then use an extender that always faces the south polarity. This way you wouldn't couple directly but rather through the extender, which is guaranteed. After experimenting with a few extender designs, I finally landed on a version that was acceptable at that stage. Now I wanted to control the locomotive using an app. So I quickly put together a Unity app that connects to the same home Wi-Fi network as the locomotive, allowing me to control it remotely. In the future, I'll make a proper physical control unit with an acceleration lever, buttons and everything else. So I decided to test it, and it worked. Well, without wagons attached, because those still had way too much friction since they didn't have bearings. So to fix that, I lubricated them, and now, well, it's a lot better. The locomotive could finally pull both wagons, although in some track areas it still got stuck, mostly due to poor friction. So I got a new idea. Rubber wheels. Well, not exactly. More accurate will be wheels with rubber gaskets. The wheels have a small channel where I can place a gasket, and this changed the game. Now, before moving to the hardest part, the body, I had to deal with another problem that's been around since I got the 3D printer: recycling. What could I possibly do with all the leftover material piling up under my desk? So, after searching online and finding only very affordable shredding options, I decided to improvise with a blender. Yeah, I know, it doesn't sound great, but hear me out. I started by cutting the PLA into small chunks and tossing them into the blender. After a few minutes of blending, this is what I got. My plan is to eventually melt all this shredded plastic into something useful, something like Jenga bricks or similar. But for now, the goal was to free up space for the future failed prints. Here are some tips in case you want to try this yourself. Don't cut the plastic too small or too large. Too small and you're wasting time, because that's the blender job, and if it's too large you overload the blender, making the job harder. Speaking about overloading the blender, keep blending time short. As you know, PLA melts at relatively low temperatures, so if you blend for more than 3 to 4 minutes, the pieces can soften and stick to the blades. Also, do not fill the blender all the way up. This forces you to increase the actual blending time. And the last tip, reinforce your blender if you can. PLA is tough and it can easily break your blender. Also, expect a lot of dust, so make sure to blend in a ventilated area and wear basic protection like a dust mask. After blending almost everything, putting the PLA in boxes, I ended up with around 10 kilos of shredded plastic. Best part is that I finally had space for future bad prints. With that sorted out, I could finally move on to the locomotive body. So I started designing using real-life scale dimensions, and this time I really wanted to push myself. I aimed to add more details than I did with the wagon in the last video, and of course that took a bit longer. But with some patience and motivation, step by step I managed to finish the entire body design. I was especially ambitious with the smaller details, even though I was a bit nervous about the 0.2 nozzle possibly being too large for them. Still, without testing, I couldn't know. I divided the body into sections so it would fit the printer bed, then went ahead and printed the body parts. This time I used the adaptive layer height, which turned out to be the perfect balance between quality and printing time. Once everything was printed, I assembled the body. This part required quite a few screws, but it made the whole structure nice and stiff. Then came the fun part, adding the details that really bring the body to life. So I added some grids, side panels, windows, handrails, and so much more. The top part of the body was tricky because of its fragile details, but I managed to pull it off. Finally, I added the finishing touches, like mirrors and some lights. And with that, after 1 year of working and taking breaks, this is the final result. Speaking about printing time and filament use, just like in the last video, I used both 0.4 and 0.2 nozzles, but now with adaptive layer heights. Altogether, the Locomotive required 590 grams of filament and about 44 hours of printing time. The adaptive layer height really made the difference. It cut down the print time without sacrificing the printing quality. Soon I'll be uploading the entire project to my GitHub link below so that you can make it yourself. With that, thank you a lot for watching this video, and once again I apologize for the 1 year pause. I'll try my best so that this won't happen again. See you soon with the third part of this project, and as always, stay safe. See you soon next year.